Southeastern Bow Hunter Podcast.
Guys, welcome to another episode of Southeastern Bow Hunter Podcast. In this one, it's going to be another BS session with my good buddy Thor Nichols. Dude, look, Thor is one of my best friends, and I always enjoy getting him on here. We are going to be talking about some stuff that's kind of got me riled up. I'm just going to say it, some people in the industry that kind of get under my skin and decided to have an extremely uneducated opinion on some buddies of mine. So I'm going to clear that up, give my opinion. It ain't really worth much, but you're going to hear it all. And then we're going to talk about early season stuff. So looking forward to that. Like we always do, got to get those partners out of the way. First up is going to be VPA. VPA is actually coming on next week. And the reason I'm telling you guys that is because they've got some products that are dropping this week, currently the first week of July, as I'm recording this. And one of those products is the Omega with bleeders. Now, the Omega broadhead is the broadhead I used last season, and it was by far the best one I think I've ever used. It is a single bevel, comes in left and right, ranges from 125 grains, I believe, up to 300 grains. So imagine that with some bleeders, man. It's going to be absolutely insane, absolutely devastating, and I cannot wait to use it. I can't wait to hear what Ryan and Jeff have to say about this broadhead and everything else that's going on with them. VPA is my broadhead of choice, and I honestly, I don't know why I didn't get on that train sooner. So if you're interested in trying their stuff out, they've got a bunch of different broadheads. You can get their test pack, which is three different broadheads that they make, and you try them out. Or you could go the single bevel route with the S7 and the Omega, or you can go 3-blade, or you can go double bevel 2-blade. They literally cover everything except a mechanical. So go check them out. Go to vparchery.com, see what you guys like. They also sell more than just broadheads. They got arrows, accessories, gear, shirts, hats, all that stuff, stickers, broadhead sharpeners, everything you would need to have a deadly arrow. They sell it. So go to vparchery.com. Once you get to checkout, use our promo code SEBH10 to save you 10%. Next up is going to be Summit Tree Stands. Summit, dude, I'm so thankful we get to work with them. I say it every week, but really my Summit Dual Threat Pro SD climbing tree stand is going to be a game changer for me this year. I upgraded thanks to Summit and was able to get a tree stand that no longer had clips and is also extremely versatile for more than just a bow hunter. You can have the open face for bow hunting. You can have the, I call it the butt bar, but it's that bar that goes in the front and allows you to climb the tree stand without having to use your arms. That's the way that I learned how to do it, but to each their own. But with that tree stand, you get to have the rifle, not the rifle rack. I call it the rifle mount, really, but basically what it is rifle rest. You get to put your rifle on that crossbow, whatever. It also gives you a nice sense of security with something in front of you in case maybe you lean back a little too much. You've got that to catch you. And yeah, man, that tree stand is just, it's got everything you need, right? So go to summitstands.com. If that tree stand's not for you, they have a bunch of other climbers, bunch of hang-ons and climbing sticks, accessories that go with all of their tree stands. And yeah, man, Summit covers you in every aspect. So go to summitstands.com, use the promo code SEBH15 to save 15% site-wide. That's everything on the website. Next up is going to be Osseo. Sorry, I'm extremely tired. It's been one of those days. But next partner is going to be Osseo Gear. My camo choice, Joe Miles, is a great person, and he has a great company there over at Osseo, great set of people. And the product speaks for itself. Honestly, it's the coolest camo pattern that I think I've seen in a long time, and we are very blessed to be working with them. So yeah, go to osseogear.com, check out everything that's going on. If there's any deals with any of these companies, look on our social medias. That would be mostly the Instagram, some Facebook. If you have me on my personal Facebook, you'll see it. And some of that will also be on the podcast Facebook. But most of it is going to be on the Instagram page. Just look at my story and you will see it. Any deal that these companies I work with, are running, it will be there. So go check them out. And then also just, for the regular day, maybe you're listening to this a couple weeks later after it drops and the sales and deals are gone. we have a promo code for you. It is SEBH. That works for Osteo Gear. That covers everything on the website. It saves you 10, or I'm sorry, it saves you 15%. Next up, I need to give a shout out to my boys over at Alpha Roofing and Construction. They are an Atrax dealer. If you don't know what Atrax is one of the best feeding program companies, whatever you want to call it. It's a feed company, but they've been around for a while, and I have used their product for years, and I love it. My buddy Jay Maxwell, as you guys know, who runs 4610 Productions, works with them. He I coordinated with him today and was able to pick up a feed block and a feed bag and took that out over to one of my spots. And I actually saw Trike again in person. The dude is absolutely insane. He's huge. I've been showing pictures to all my buddies and actually posted on the Instagram. So if you want to go check it out, go to that. But also give Atrax just check them out. I mean, I know I'm kind of potching this up a little bit. Sorry, Chase. But look, man, Atrax is probably one of the best feeds that I think I've used in a long time. I've used corn, I've used a few other companies, and the deer don't run to the feed like they do with Atrax. So check out Atrax Supreme. I believe it's atraxsupreme.com. Check them out on Instagram, Facebook, all of that. And man, if you need a new roof, go to Alpha Roofing and Construction. It's just a little shameless plug for them. Next up is going to be Bergie Bowsmith. I got some stuff in the works for you guys. If you want to get your bow tuned by Bergie, just be on the lookout for that. He and I have been talking business, and there's some really cool things coming on the pipeline for the end of this year, I believe, and also 2025. So just be ready for that because a lot of cool things are happening with them or with him. And I honestly, Bergie's one of my really good buddies, and I trust him with my bow. Honestly, dude, like the dude's worked on every single bow, in my opinion, that's been ever made. So he knows his stuff and he will get you set right. If you don't feel like shipping your bow off to anybody, but you want to go to a shop, check out Ace Hardware and Social Circle. Really good guys. My buddy John, my buddy Mark. They know what they're doing and they will get you set up. They also, say you got a bow and it's already tuned, but you want to get some product and you're just in the area. Stop by Ace, check them out, talk with the guys. And they have everything that you would need up there in the shop. And just tell them you heard about it or heard about them through us. It helps them out. And I've known these dudes since I started bow hunting, and they are some really, really good guys. Next up is going to be Scout Tech. Dude, the Scout Tech cameras are just unbelievably good. I mean, the videos, the picture quality, just everything, man. The app is so easy to use. I mean, really, Scout Tech, Ryan is really a man's man, dude. He is an awesome guy, awesome friend, just a great dude. So go check out Scout Tech. Their product speaks for themselves. Right now, I believe they're still running the deal where you can get 2 of the new shadow cameras for $100. And that's a steal. I mean, seriously, I've been running the shadows for almost a year now, and they're amazing. So go check them out. Go to scouttech.com and see everything they have. Check out their deals. We also have some more stuff in the works for you guys. As time goes on, there's a few more things coming from Scout Tech that is going to benefit y'all. And that's what it's all about, right? So, yeah, man, if you're watching the video, you can see behind me, I don't have my obsession anymore. This is kind of an update. It's going to be a little bit longer of an intro. It's going to be one of those episodes, man, so bear with me, but there's a lot of things that have been happening. I don't shoot an Obsession anymore. That bow was amazing. Obsession is a great company. Dennis is an awesome guy, and I still like to consider him a friend, but I couldn't seem to get used to that bow, and I shot bear for years before I switched over. So I decided to go back to what I knew, and I ended up getting the Bear Whitetail Max. I want to do a video on that bow, kind of my own opinion and stuff. Don't know when that's going to happen if I have the time. This week's going to be kind of crazy, so it may not happen for a couple of weeks, but hopefully that happens and I'm able to get that video out for you guys. But the Bear Whitetail Max, I shot the flagship bow, I've shot the Alaskan XT, and I shot the Whitetail Max, and the Whitetail Max fit me perfectly. The draw cycle is really smooth. It does kind of have a little bit of aggressiveness to it, but it's kind of a speed bow. I mean, I'm shooting my arrows right now that are like 445 to 450 grains at like 270 foot a second when I tested it this past weekend. And dude, the bow is just amazing. It's super quiet, super fast, stable. I mean, I really cannot say enough about this bow. So I just wanted to let you guys know, if you're watching the video and you're like, oh, that's not his regular bow. Now you know why. I do not work with Bear. There is no partnership there. They are, in my opinion, one of the best companies out there, though. They cover you from beginner all the way to someone who's been hunting for longer than I've been alive. And it's all really good prices. It's good budget prices, but flagship quality bows. So yeah, man, the Bear Whitetail Max is my bow of choice for this year, and honestly, for the next couple of years, I would bet. I couldn't be happier. I really couldn't be happier. And so I want, if any of y'all are in the market for a new bow, give Bear a shot. Go shoot the Whitetail Max, go shoot the Surpass, go shoot the Alaskan XT, the Persist, which is their flagship. There was another one, the Paradigm for you long draw guys. They, like I said, they cover everybody, and the prices are amazing, and the quality is amazing. The fact that my bow is competing with flagship bows for half the price, and I've shot flagship bows. Okay, I'm not going to name any names, but my buddies know who I'm talking about. I've shot flagship bows, and I'm telling you, they don't feel any better than mine. Again, just my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. It's just I really, really like this bow, and Bear has been around for decades. All right, Fred Bear, for those who do know who that is, which I would hope be a lot of y'all. He is an icon in the archery industry, in the hunting industry. The man is. We wouldn't have half the things we do if it wasn't for Fred Bear. So I feel pretty happy, man. Pretty happy to be able to shoot that again. And yeah, that's just an update with what's going on. Trike is huge. Like I said, saw him today. He's even bigger in person. It's crazy. But look, man, I'm rambling on. If there's anything else, I'm sure it'll come up in the episode. But like I always say, if you don't know Jesus Christ, please get to know him. Please, 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 just give him a chance. That's all I'm asking. He's changed my life. I feel like everything that has happened with this podcast is because of him, and I truly cannot thank him enough for what he did on the cross and what he's been doing in my life, my friends' lives, my wife's life. I mean, dude, just all of it, man, all of it. He has a hand in everything that happens, and I can see that clearly now. And I'm telling you guys, if you just give him a shot, all right, it might get a little hard. Believe me, it's not all sunshine and rainbows after you get saved or accept him, because the enemy is coming after you even harder. But what comes after that is so much better than what you could have expected. So that's my preacher moment. Just throwing it out there. You don't have to, but I would really appreciate you at least giving a thought to it. All of that said and done, this episode might get a little spicy. I'm not going to lie. I got very heated when I heard this. I got very heated when I saw people talking about what happened. You'll know what I'm talking about when you listen to this episode. But yeah, man, I can't stand people who want to speak on something and have no idea what they're talking about. So anyway, that's that. Let's get into it with Thor Nichols, man. Mr. Thor, Outdoors with Thor. If you don't know that, that's his YouTube channel. This is gonna be a really good episode, so let's get started. You're gonna recognize this name. You're gonna recognize this face. He's been on probably more than any guest I've had, aside from when JD was a co-host. That's not a shot at JD, but Thor came on for this podcast, Mr. Thor Nichols, Outdoors with Thor, which we're gonna get into, because there's some stuff that has been happening very recently in the hunting world that has got me fired up. And I know Thor pretty much has close to the same opinion, I would assume. So we're going to dive into that. But before we do, I want to hear what has been going on with you, because I feel like there's been quite a bit. A lot has changed since the last time you were on here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, what's up, man? Yeah, it's been, I've been quite the busy person. Um, I think the last time I was on, I spoke on uh, a little bit about a new hunting lease I was getting into, a new hunting club. Um, I don't think I really brought up anything about my YouTube or anything. I hadn't been talking about it much just because I haven't been able to do any videos like I wanted to. So I've been busy messing with that. I dropped a new logo today for it, so it's pretty cool. As Eric stated, it's Outdoors with Thor. If you get on YouTube, or if you go on Facebook, or if you go on TikTok, you can look me up on TikTok either way, Thor Nichols or Outdoors with Thor. But I'm on all three of those platforms. And I'm also on Instagram. I barely get on my Instagram though. I'm really bad about getting on that. But I've just recently started trying to start doing videos. Originally, I was just doing bass fishing years ago, and because I thought it would just be really hard to do the hunting stuff, the hunting side of it. I do a lot of both. I initially started really fishing before I ever started hunting, but when I started hunting, it was like a wildfire. So this year, I really wanted to record just a little bit of best of the both worlds. I didn't really do much of the fishing stuff this year. I may later on, I'm not sure, but um, I recently dropped a new video. So with Blackwater custom calls and um, just some little short stuff. I'm working on using my phone until I get another GoPro and get all my camera stuff set up again. So everybody that's being patient with me, it's been super awesome though, because I just hit 100 subscribers, which doesn't seem like a much, but to me, it's like a lot of people. So
That's a lot. If you think about it, fill a room with 100 people, man. That's a lot of
yeah,
people.
and 100 people, like I said the other day, 100 people want to see. 100 people subscribe and want to know when I put a video out. That means a lot to me. So, um, I dropped a new logo today, and I have for the last hour and a half after dinner, I've been working on fooling around with hats and shirts, just looking at a couple things. No, just something in the works. No definite stuff yet. If I did them, it would be like a pre-order deal. It wouldn't be nothing crazy. Because I'm not footing the bill for a bunch of crap that nobody's going to buy. It's if it took off, then maybe we can go that route. But um, yeah, I've been working a lot, as you know. Um, I told everybody about the Matthews lift I was getting. I did go put it on layaway and everything. I'm not sure if I had done that yet, but I did go put it on layaway. Um, I'm in the next week or two going to go get it off layaway, get it set up, and get ready for season. And it's kind of last minute, kind of not, because once you've been shooting a bow, you know how a compound bow works. You can typically get them pretty tuned pretty quick. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, have took the boat out. My birthday was Sunday, so I took the boat out with my oldest daughter Sunday. We did some fishing and just bonding time, you know, daddy daughter stuff, and we did a little bit of deer scouting for a spot that I can hunt down there off of that lake, and even did a little goose scouting. So that deer spot is archery only. That's why I bring it up. It is a archery only permit area, and it looks really good. I wish I would have had my camera um, in the boat to go set a camera up, but I will be going back there to go set a camera up really soon. So put cameras out. We have had deer moving. You've seen them. I've been showing you. I've posted a few pictures. We've had hogs too. Um, but got a couple cameras up on the new hunting club. Got to go check it out. Super stoked about it. Ready to get down there and set up camp for the year. Get a little bit of an established spot and get more batteries in my cameras because my cell cameras died. So we're going to either be going solar power or lithiums. A lot of guys try to say, oh, they stray away from lithiums because of the price, which they are pricey. But right now, it might be my best option until I save up and go with a solar route. But I have been looking at or an external battery with solar panels, something like that.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about that a little bit here and there. And my youngest daughter stood up on her own tonight, so like
Oh, wow.
completely, yeah, completely no help. She just
Okay.
stood there and looked
Well,
at all of us, and I was like, she's not even one yet, so she'll be one the 23rd. So she's been growing like a weed. We've been doing a lot of stuff with her. Yeah. So it's been a ton busy family man and busy with the outdoor stuff.
hell yeah, dude. I mean, like I said, a lot's changed since the last time you were on here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, well, we are gonna definitely dive into some of the early season prep that you and I have been doing, kind of
Oh
our
yeah.
plan. Because at the time when this drops, it's gonna be the second week of July,
Right.
and it'll be after 4th of July. And as everybody knows, 4th of July is kind of the turning point for people that do deer hunt but aren't like
Mhm.
constantly doing stuff for it. Like,
Oh yeah.
I'm feeding every week throughout the whole year. It's probably a big waste of
Mhm.
money, but it
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah. Keeps the inventory. You kind of keep the deer used to you feeding in that area.
Yeah. Well, and it
So,
lets you know like what they're gonna, grow into early on,
oh
right?
yeah.
Like when Trike was showing up, I knew it was him because he dropped first, started growing first. And
Right.
in the end of April, when he's already got, 3 or 4 inch nubs coming off his head, you kind of know, okay, that's probably him, right?
Yeah.
So it's just fun. But before we go into the new or the early season stuff, you and I talked a little bit earlier today, and I was extremely fired up over some ignorant person's comment. And when I say the name, because I'm gonna name drop in this, people will probably be like, "Oh, what did you say?" Because maybe some people don't know.
Yeah.
But I'll back up a little bit. So I've been listening to Working Class Bow Hunter since pretty much day one that I got into hunting, right?
Yeah.
And I am thankful to be able to call Kurt a friend. I can text him, call him anytime, and I know he'll answer. It's a really good
Mhm.
dude. He's been very, very helpful in this podcast journey, right? So I
Right.
look up to those guys. That's my absolute favorite thing to listen to. Um, every episode is good. I have nothing bad to say about them whatsoever. So, that being the case, I'm in their Facebook group and I saw somebody had posted about the most recent episode of, at least I think it's most recent episode of the Deer Hunter podcast, where a certain person named Matt Ranella decided to come on and open his fat mouth. Um, and if I get aggressive or, a little spicy with this one, it's, I'm not going to say I took it personal, but it really pissed me off. So
Yeah.
basically, what Matt said is he gave his opinion on the working class guys. And I already don't like Matt Ranella, right? I don't. I think
Yeah.
to me, he's just a crotchety old man who, you know, and maybe that's disrespectful. I don't mean any disrespect because honestly, there are a few things that he says that I agree with. But
Right.
most of it is him sounding like he's jealous about the fact that there's more hunters around than he would like and that he
Yeah.
can't get to those spots. But that's normal. We all deal with that.
Oh yeah.
But
Especially
he
in
wants to go
Georgia.
on there and say some stuff about the working class guys and talk about how, they are homophobic and how they just don't know what they're doing. And the host of that podcast, the Deer Hunter podcast, who I thought was friends with those guys, had nothing to say other
Yeah.
than they're just good at business. And to me, it's like, okay, you go around talking bad about other hunters, how you hate social media for hunting. And everyone's entitled to their opinion. I'm cool with that.
Oh
But
yeah.
social media has helped get hunting the right way out there for people to see that it's not just a bunch of Elmer Fuds in the woods who shoot everything they see. Now, are there people like that? Yes.
Oh
There's
yeah.
plenty of people out there. Like I could probably name off 3 or 4, maybe 5 that like just off the top of my head that would I'd be like, that's not good for hunting.
Yeah.
But for him to go on there and say that not only Joe Rogan is bad for hunting, but that the WCB guys are all these, things that he had said, it pissed me off because it's like you you go on there and you spew out negative stuff that doesn't help anybody just because when you go to hunt, because all he hunts is public land, at least that's a claim that I've heard.
Right.
You want to go out there and be mad just because somebody is in your spot, but it's not your spot, it's public land.
Yeah.
So
I deal with that a lot as
yeah,
a
so do I. And that's the thing that we
yeah.
talked about earlier is like you go to public and you see somebody 95% of the time, if you meet up with someone at the parking lot and they say, "Hey man, where are you headed?" They're not going your direction.
Yeah, I try to I mean I'll chalk it up with somebody if I catch them walking in near me or whatever. I'll be like, "Hey, I'm gonna straight to the point, tell them where I'm going." I'll be like, "This is where I'm going because I already scouted it." If we were gonna go to the same spot, I'm gonna go somewhere else. I've already got 5 or 6 different areas in my mind.
Exactly.
And I
I
typically
mean,
try to beat everybody there, but you don't always beat everybody there. So
yeah.
that's
And
just
the thing
part
is,
of it.
like and I will say, his style of hunting is different than ours, right? He's out there in the West. He's hunting Western stuff. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's a lot different. I don't know anything about it. I've never done it. But to go on there and just completely bash these guys you don't even know, when
Yeah.
if you actually listen to their podcast, nothing he said is true. It really pissed me off because it's like, dude, now you're talking crap about friends of mine that like help me get to where I feel like I'm at. And they've been nothing but nice. They've never said anything hateful towards anybody. And
Right.
they've been a huge help to the hunting industry, in my opinion. Show me something that shows that's not the case, and maybe I'll change my opinion. But,
Yeah.
we have so much division already in the world. Why would you go out there and try to say, oh, well, hunter numbers are actually down, or I'm sorry, hunter numbers are actually up. And, people keep saying they're down. And it's like, no, hunter numbers are up because every time you go out there, you see someone. It's like, isn't that a good thing? Like, is it
Yeah.
a good thing there's more hunters because then there's more funding going to
Mhm.
preserve what we want?
Yeah.
It just, I mean,
It's a double-edged sword. I mean, we all know that. The
yeah,
more hunters there are, the more complicated it can be to hunt public areas. But the more hunters there are, I mean, I love seeing people get outdoors, especially kids. I love seeing new hunters come into it and learning. I mean, it's a good thing to know. It's good to know weapon safety. It's good to know how to provide. It's good to know how to harvest or kill an animal. It's good to know all those things and having high hunter numbers. I mean, it's kind of funny you say that. Going back, this is just kind of correlates between just the outdoor industry in general. This is with bass fishing, but same idea number wise. There, COVID happened and all that, and the numbers spiked.
mm-hmm,
And then now things have died off, and COVID's kind of eased off, and they're dropping. I mean,
yeah,
and you're seeing that go away. Like it's getting harder, and there's a lot of people in that industry, and there's a lot of people in the outdoor industry in general that do both. I mean, Hank Parker, all those Gerald Swindle, all those guys, they hunt and they fish. Now they are professional bass fishermen, but
mm-hmm,
by trade. But I mean, they do it all. They've done it all. But um, those numbers are, they're dropping, is what they're saying. Of course, I haven't fully looked at the numbers. It was just I've listened to quite a few podcasts of various people talking about it, and um, it's just like hunting numbers. I don't think they're fully. I think they spiked, but I think they're starting to drop again.
yeah,
So for someone to say, and like I don't know much about the guy, when you spoke on it this morning, I was like, well, I know whose brother that is.
yeah,
Of course, everybody we know who Steve Rennell is. I honestly had no idea about Matt or anything. Like I don't know much about him, so I did a little just a little research. And dude, everything I clicked on or came up was negative, dude.
yeah.
And I was like, God, this guy seems like he's a real joy to be around.
Well, what gets me, dude, this is just my opinion, but it almost sounds like he's just upset that he doesn't have the same success. And maybe I'm wrong, right? Like
Yeah,
maybe I'm totally wrong about that. And I will say it again. I respect Matt. I respect his opinion
right.
when it comes down to the hunting topic, but don't be talking about people you don't have any idea about and then try to say that, they're homophobic or whatever. Like that's especially these days, when I was listening to that episode, I heard a lot of liberal talking points, like buzzwords that he was using. And
Yep.
I'm like, dude, you lost me. I mean, you really lost me. If you're going to call someone that and you don't even know them just because they say a certain word on the podcast, and every single time that word is said, it's always in a joking manner, and it's not hateful. It's always like, playing around, and there you go. Um,
I texted my fiance. I said, "Send our daughter in here. Cut the light on. I can't move." Uh,
um, yeah, man, it annoys me. And then it's not even just the working class guys. Like he was going after Cam Haynes, he was going after Remy Warren, saying like they're selfish because of all the deer or all the animals they kill. And it's like, dude, I could see that being the case if they're not utilizing the animal. But
Part of it,
Cam
like,
eats
yep.
nothing but elk meat, basically. Remy Warren eats everything he kills that is edible,
Yeah,
and so does Cam. And
right.
just because someone killed 12 animals in a year and then posts about it, is there maybe a little bit of like ego feeding there? Yeah, maybe a little bit. Or
Oh yeah,
it's showing to someone who may not know they can go hunt a specific animal, seeing him do that and being like, oh, I can do that. And then the funds they spend to go do that hunt help out whoever, whatever community it is, or the Pittman Act, all of that stuff, man. And it's just, it really pissed me off this morning and got me fired up when I listened to that. And I'm just like, bro,
Yeah.
you have no idea what you're talking about. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like, neither one of them have any ground to stand on, in my opinion.
Well, and what's so crazy to me is like knowing where his brother stands on a lot of this. It's almost like they're polar. I wouldn't say polar opposites, but they are. I think they're very different on their views on.
Yeah, well, and he's even talking
Um,
crap about his brother. Like he
oh
will
yeah,
literally sit there and be like, "Oh, this. I don't think hunting should be in any social media, and I don't think the TV shows and this and that." And it's like, bro, if just think of a world. Think of it like this:
oh yeah,
if I grew up without the game Deer Hunter, right? Because that's where I started. That's where my obsession with hunting started. Was at 4 years
right.
old. I'm sitting at my aunt's place for hours and hours and hours while my uncle is off at hunting camp. I'm playing Deer Hunter.
Oh
If
yeah,
that was never made, okay, and then the TV shows that I watch were never made, I wouldn't be hunting. So that's all the money I spend in hunting not going there.
right.
That's all the conservation dollars that just me alone, what I spend on the gear for hunting, that's not going to that. Now
Yeah.
multiply that by like just $1 million to be conservative with it. That's a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
money that's not going to conservation.
right.
And are there bad apples? Yes. Are there
Oh,
TV
sure.
shows where they're shooting animals in high fence and they're trying to play it off like, oh, this is a free range deer or free range whatever? Yeah, of course there are. Are there people on Instagram and TikTok that completely make hunters look like idiots? Yeah,
All
I
the
probably
time.
follow a few of them.
Oh
But
yeah, all
but
the
it's
time.
like it's just annoying, man, that you're going to come out here and try to convince. You're never going to convince people to stop doing that.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. And I'm not telling him to stop what he's doing, but go about it a different way. You want to help
Yeah.
conserve these areas and get more access? Go to your local government officials and talk to them about that and explain why it should happen. Don't just go on a podcast and say, "Oh, well, this shouldn't be like that because the grip and grins." Who cares? Who cares what
Yeah.
someone's opinion is?
Yeah.
Like, okay, is that giving PETA something to use? Maybe. But the
Yeah.
question is, did that person shoot that animal and eat it? Or did they shoot that animal, cut the head off, and then go home?
Right. We
So
we. I mean, and I hate seeing that stuff. Like a public area that I take my daughter. I took her last year. It's only for youth during the firearms hunt. There's a short archery season on this particular area, but we I took her down there and there was a head of a deer with a skull capped off of it, and you already know what that was. I mean,
exactly.
and when then I found later on down the road, I found another carcass with the head completely removed
Hmm.
on the property, and we seen a lot of deer there the first time I took her there. I mean, we saw 11 deer first time ever sitting there
Hmm.
on me just doing aerial scouting on Onyx. So it's it's pretty crazy. Uh, I don't, you know, I just I don't see how you gotta be a little more positive. Uh, you can look at all the negatives there are, and you can look at all the bad stuff going on, and you can dwell on it, or you can try and fix it,
Oh
and you
yeah.
can change it.
I mean, I completely agree. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm dwelling on the negative because I'm not, but it's just,
No, not you, but I mean,
yeah.
in
Well, and it's
general.
like you're gonna go out there and talk about how all these sponsors are working with certain individuals, right? Like I'll use Cam Hanes as an example. Under Armour. Okay. One of the examples they used in the show was, well, no one's buying those shoes because they think they're the best. They're buying them because Cam Hanes endorses them. Well, okay, but that's like you're gonna have that with anything. Look at Michael Jordan. Were Jordan's
Yeah, I mean,
best shoes ever
that'll
made?
be a 50. There's going to be a 50-50 deal on anything like that.
Yeah.
50% of the people are going to buy them because it's actually useful to them and they really enjoy the product. 50% of the people are going to buy them because so and so uses them.
Hmm.
I mean, that's just how it's going to be. I mean, people buy bow brands because certain shooters shoot them.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, that's the point of those guys using that brand is to
Exactly.
promote for that company and that company sell more of their
Yeah.
product.
Well, and then you're going to go
So,
on a podcast and talk about all this stuff and complain and gripe about your issues with the hunting industry. And then that same podcast has sponsors. there was even a sponsor break in the middle of the episode, just like what we do. But
Yep.
I'll openly say it. Like, we have partners. Like, there's
Yeah, you
people I
gotta.
work with
Oh
that
yeah,
I promote their product because I want people to use it, not because they're paying me, but
yeah.
it's because, which they're not, but it's because I believe in that product and I think it'll benefit anyone who uses it.
All right.
So it doesn't make any sense. It's like you're going to go on there and you're going to say, oh, well, we shouldn't have this big money corporations, and Lee and Tiffany, they spend $100,000 on their lease. You don't know that. Nobody knows that. It's not like
And
they're,
even if they do know that,
yeah, who cares?
who cares? I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know nothing about anybody that is that big in the industry, but I can tell you right now, they didn't get that big from sitting on their butt. And if they got that big and they have that kind of money and they have that kind of influence on the industry, they probably deserve what they got. I mean,
Yeah.
not everybody does, but a lot of people do.
Yeah. There's some people it's
And
handed to,
look
but
at the
then there's
bone
others that work
collector.
for it.
Look at all the bone collector guys. We talk
Oh,
about them
yeah.
all the time. They're blue collar, just like me and you originally. I mean, where Michael Waddell got his start as an intern and a cameraman, and I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he it just worked out, and that happens from time to time. Sometimes it just works out. I was talking to somebody about. Oh, I was talking to Daryl earlier about it. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I jokingly said, it's everybody's dream to. I said I'd love to just make a little living off of hunting for a living. I would be just fine with that. And obviously, that's all of our dream. We would love everybody who's in the outdoor world or who fishes and hunts. A lot of them would love to get paid to do it. A lot of them would love to have sponsors. A lot of them would love to be on YouTube. A lot of them would love to be those statuses that they see other groups and other people at the levels they're at. But it took years to get there,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this industry. It takes years to build that stuff up.
Oh, yeah.
The hunting public guys didn't just blow up overnight. Uh, Lee Ellis and Seek One production or Seek One, they didn't blow up overnight. It took time. There was a lot of behind the scenes with Seek One back when they started working with Mossy Oak before things ever blew up, and they were doing stuff before that. That's just where I found them at.
Yeah.
Just really teamed up with Mossy Oak, and that's where a lot of people found him. But there was a lot of before that. There was a lot of behind the scenes, which is where I'm at right now. Which I know we're getting off in left field here, away from where we were going. But I'm just the same sense. Like a lot of people work hard for where they're going and what they got, and it's the people that hate on them. I mean, it's whatever. Haters are your motivators, but it's like don't don't be mad at somebody else's success. Go get your own success.
Yep. I agree. I mean, I guess really to just wrap it all up, because I don't want this whole episode to be me bashing Matt, but
Yeah.
it just really gets me fired up when somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about wants to go out there. And again, Matt is probably a better hunter than me. I will admit that.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure.
He's been in it
Sure
longer
he's
than I've
better.
been alive. So, I'm not taking away from that. But to just open your mouth and talk about somebody you don't even know. And again, I don't even know Matt, but I'm going off of what he said in a public forum. I guess he's
Yeah, I
doing the
mean,
same thing, but it's like, dude, if you listen to all this stuff from Working Class, you can tell that these guys aren't the way that he tried to portray them. And it just
right.
really pissed me off that someone would pretty much just have that assumption. He probably listened. He was like talking about how when they had that guy on their podcast maybe a couple weeks ago to a month ago, where he was asking the question, is the internet bad for hunting? And he was like, well, they just clipped it the way that, to fit their narrative. And I'm like, no, they didn't. They're
Yeah.
not like that. First off. Second, I listened to that whole episode. None of those clips were edited to their narrative. It was literally snippets of that episode
Yeah.
that were put out and snippets that were not taken out of context. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I hate the negativity. I hate that, he's trying to paint those dudes in a bad light. And it just really pissed me off. And I can firmly say that no matter what Matt does, no matter what anyone with that opinion does, the way that hunting's going, you're gonna have TV shows, you're gonna have
Oh,
sponsors. There's too deep already. You're not gonna get away from that. And
well,
so,
let's say,
go ahead.
oh,
I'm pretty
they,
much done.
yeah, they say a lot of times you hear people talk about that hunting's becoming a rich man's sport. I mean, it can be to a point, but I've been doing it since I've been doing it since I was a little boy. I started hunting with my dad, and I didn't kill my first deer till I was 14, 14. And yeah, I was 13, 14. Killed my first deer, 5 point buck, whatever. I remember it like I'll remember it for the rest of my life. Um, my uncle's best friend took me on their property, and I shot him standing at the base of a box stand in a corn row, overlooking this big food plot, corn food plot, um, with a 180 grain 30-06, and that's what really got me started right there. But where we've come from that point to now, yeah, it would seem as if hunting is becoming a rich man's sport, or what you would call it. But in the same light, in the same sense, a lot of us blue collar guys is what keeps hunting going, and it's what makes the hunting industry go around, because we're the ones fueling this hunting industry, and we're the ones fueling the outdoor industry, watching these people and um, watching these shows and watching these videos, and I'm one of those people fueling that, and I'm okay with fueling that because I want to promote those guys in hopes that one day somebody just like me would watch my stuff or watch your stuff or anybody else we know, like Andy and them, and promote it and watch it and boost it up to the point where it could be something big.
Yep.
And we all if we all just help each other and give a pat on the back to each other a little bit and give each other a hand in the long run, it'll make everybody. I think it'll not make everybody. Not trying to say that. I think in the long run, it'll help everybody get to where they would like to be, whether it be big or small, or not known at all.
Yeah.
Just be on a level they would be like to be at. Not everybody wants to be famous for hunting, and I don't want to be famous for hunting. I think it's cool to share my experiences with people, and that's my goal in the long run, is to share my experiences that me and my family are going to have in the next 20 years, whether it be Boone and Crockett Giants to spikes and forks that my kids are going to shoot for their first deer.
Yeah.
I would love every bit of it, just like I did growing up, and just like I'm just now starting to get in my level of hunting. I'm getting to where I really do start to care about wanting to really try and shoot mature deer, and really trying to let small deer walk and stuff like that. And I'm growing as an individual, and I'm growing as an outdoorsman, I feel like, and I'm growing as a hunter every time I go in the woods. So I think basically what I'm just trying to say overall is, like, I think if we all just keep helping each other out, that's the way it's supposed to be. God put these animals here on earth for us to partake in hunting and killing. And if we all love to share those experiences with each other, that's great. I think we just need to help each other keep that rolling. And that negative crap, it's unfortunate when it happens, because it happens every single day. But as long as we try to do our best to keep that crap outside the good bubble and just keep expanding the good bubble, that's all we can really do at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, this is the last time I'm going to bring this up on what he had said and my opinion on it, because the way I look at it is, like I said before, it just to me sounds like someone who is not happy with the circumstance they're in, and
Yeah.
not happy with the fact that things are changing and they're going to change. And
Oh, yeah.
that's, like to your point about posting stuff on social media, I don't, yeah, I like to show like what's going on, how the season's been going, with all of that.
Yeah.
I want the people that listen to this to know, like, hey, you remember this deer I was talking about a year ago? Well, guess what? I killed him today, or something like that. But
Yeah.
it's really not even that. Is I don't even use what I post as a gain. I look at what other people post as far as big deer are concerned, and I use that as motivation, because I'm like, oh,
Oh, yeah.
well, say you kill, a giant 10 or 12 point, right? That gets
Yeah.
me going, where I'm like, oh, Thor did it. Okay, cool. Well, you know what? Now
I
I'm
got
able
it.
to put in the extra effort, right? Like, not because
Right.
I outdo you, but it's one of those things where
Well,
it's okay, well, so and so did this. I know I can do it, but maybe I've been lacking a little bit. Maybe
yeah.
I'm lacking in some departments, and I need to just put in that effort to make that happen. That's the way I look at it. So in my
Oh yeah.
opinion, social media is not fully bad for hunting. There are bad actors, there are bad apples, but
Yep.
overall, if we can keep it positive and, just like that one kid with the spoon said, he's blocking out the haters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I look at it. So
Oh
I'm
yeah.
I'm done with my rant about Matt. He said what he said. I talked with Kurt and them. I know how they feel about it. If
Yeah.
you listen to their newest episode with Cody Christensen, who, let me just tell you, is an amazing country artist. That dude is a freaking talent, man. Oh my God.
I'll have to listen to it.
You need to, because in the beginning of their intro, there's a little snippet of something Matt said, and it's so funny. It's this like tiny little jab. It's like, hey, we heard what you said, man. And
Yeah.
yeah, I hope they talk on it. I hope Kurt and them give their opinion. If not, I'll speak for
Well,
just
that's
basically.
some people's way of just trying to stay relevant.
Oh,
So
100%. Because they know, like, you're not gonna you can't, even if I was behind what Matt said about the whole hunting industry and everything,
yeah.
you cannot do what you're trying to do. It's just not possible in this day and age.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
If
saying?
any,
So
if anything, man, our industry as a whole has been great for deer. At least I feel like, because everybody's shooting bigger deer. Now, granted, I'm perfectly okay with somebody shooting a spike. I'll shoot a
of
spike
course.
on public land. I've done it. I did it 2 years ago.
And you
I'm
caught
not gonna
hell
go to
for it.
my hunting, I'm not gonna go to my hunting club in Hancock and smoke a spike and be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I
But it's
did
a
it.
process. It's a growing process.
But
You
I got
start
to that point.
somewhere.
Yeah, I used to I would,
Yeah.
but now I won't. But a lot of people can't understand that I would go to public land and still shoot a spike.
Well,
That's just how it is. That's just
it's
my
not them
mental, and
hunting.
not everybody's
So
the same. Right.
yeah, it's
But
not
and
them hunting. Their opinion doesn't matter.
as a whole, everybody that shoots these large deer, I think it pushes each other, like you were just saying. It pushes everybody as a whole to want to shoot bigger deer, which is good because as a whole, uh, outdoors group of people, as a whole group of hunters, everybody pushing to shoot bigger deer, it's a good thing. It's a good for the herd
Mm-hmm.
and doing good management. It's good for our herds. I'm new to that club down there, but that herd down there, man, I can already tell that herd is solid from what I can tell. They have done a jam up job of um, quality management on that property from what it looks like. And um, we may go in and shoot a few does this year, thin it up a little because they do have quite a few doe groups coming through, which is good. He told me, we have our set limits per member and all that. So, we've already spoke on that, but we're definitely excited to put some slicks on the ground. I'm excited to send a string slapping against the back of that string stop and putting one through the pump house on a slick head. So
Well, speaking of all of that, I'll just say it now. I'm done with the whole Matt Ranella thing. I just had to get that off my chest. Give my opinion on how he was talking about my boys over at WCB, and just in my opinion, screw that guy. But
yeah,
I'm done with it. So now into the interesting stuff, the fun stuff, the important stuff. Early season, dude. We've got early season coming. I mean, deer season comes in like what? It is July 2nd. We have 2 months and 12 days.
my next. Let me go ahead and just start by this. My next 2 months are slammed,
Oh, I'm sure.
and then September is slammed because my youngest daughter has her birthday this month. My fiance has her birthday this month. My fiance has some doctor appointments coming up. We have uh well, it's 4th of July is coming up this week. America, you know. Um dude, so it's just it's about to get down to the wire real fast, but it's about to be hectic for a little bit, but it's gonna be worth it. Um I have a good idea of good game plan of what I want to do down there at that club and where I'd like to start opening day. We have, as you can tell, I'm wearing my Dove 30 hat, but we have all the seasons starting in September. Not everybody dove hunts, I know that, but we got dove season starting, early goose and teal starting for our waterfowl guys, deer season for our bow, our archery guys, deer season's coming. It's knocking on the door. It's a week after the rest of those. So I'm going to be busy probably on a dove field and the opener. I'm going to try and be on a dove field and the opener for early goose. I'm going to try and be in the boat blind, but then turn right around. Then opener for deer going to be in my summit Goliath climbing stand, hopefully 20 foot, 25 foot up a tree, ready to let it eat. Let that lift go. But I've got food plots. I want to do some small kill plots. I've got in mind. I'm super excited. I'm going to be doing those the first time ever this year. So this is going to be a whole learning curve for me, learning process, but I'm excited to try it out and share the success I'm going to have with it because that hopefully like I did with my, getting on there and doing my research online and YouTube and Google and asking Andy with double A and all that, finding out some info on food plots because I don't know. But I'm hoping to document what I got going on and record those things and hopefully share that with somebody else that can use my information as good info and maybe I can have some good success and go from there with it.
Yeah, I mean, the deer you were sending me photos of before, you had one you called Bullwinkle that I
Oh,
would shoot. I mean,
he's,
I,
he's a
I
big
would.
five. Um,
I mean, he's wide, he's palmated. He honestly reminds me of Trike, but a little shorter.
yeah.
And you were
Well, and the
getting
thing is,
photos of
when
him daylighting a lot.
the cameras died, what, 2 weeks ago?
No, it was about a week ago.
That's longer. It's about a week and a half
You
because
sure?
they've been dead for yeah. I'd
Oh,
have to
okay.
go back and
All
look
right.
on my last photo, but they died probably a week and a half ago because I want to say Colson was here and he's here every other weekend. So, and we get Colson this weekend. So,
Yeah. Well, either
either
way,
way,
you've got him there.
but they've been dead. What I'm saying is, so the growth we don't know. I'm excited to see. I kind of do like the gap I gave myself because I'm gonna have a 2-3 week growth gap where they're finishing out, and I'm gonna get to see the final product or the leading up to that final product coming into it. So I'm excited to see what he turns it into. I think he's gonna be wide enough. The legality for anybody curious or anybody listening, 4 on one side or 15 inches spread. It used to be both, but they changed the QDMA rules for that county a little bit. Now we have our own club rules. I don't know how old that deer is. I've got to talk with a couple of the other guys, see if they've even ever seen him before. I've shared the picture with a few of you, and I've got some feedback on saying he's 3.5 to 4.5, which is I've had somebody who knows what they are doing and have been hunting mature deer for a long time tell me he's a mature buck.
Oh,
But
100%.
he just didn't do much. And but if he goes legal and I get the okay, I may try and set up and kill him because I like him. I think he's a really heavy horn deer, and I think he's going to have a lot of palmation on that.
Hmm.
Uh, was he left side? He's got three. Yeah, and he has no brow tine on the right side, so that makes him a big split on the right. And we were hoping he'd go. I was hoping he'd go 4 on that left side. I was hoping he'd get one G3 and at least give me 4 points on one side, so it'd be kind of a cool looking big old 7 because he's wide.
Yeah, he's going to be if it hopefully because you told me that on that property they like to move off some after the summer, but I'm hoping that he
Yeah.
sticks around long enough for you to see him at least and get a
Well,
shot on him because last year, man, with what happened on public and stuff like that, like I
I had a
really
tough season.
you did, yeah, you
Yeah.
did, and I hate seeing that, because the work that we put in, you know, I like to see it pay off. So I
Oh yeah.
mean, that's why whenever we talk about this stuff over text or whatever, and I'm like, all right, man, we'll try this, try that. You never know what he's going to turn into, but the fact that he was already grown like he was the last photos you got, I think that
Yeah.
that deer is going to. I don't want to say be a top of the list deer for you because you don't really know what shows up there, like in the
Yeah.
rut and all that. But I I think you should shoot him because
Yeah.
I would shoot him. So
Yeah. Like I
that's
said, I
just
don't
me.
know. I'm gonna talk it over. And what big first things first, when I get to go back out there and get feedback out and cameras back going, I'm gonna see what he looks like before I even bring it up. If I myself don't personally feel like he would be a shooter or meet what we're trying to shoot, then I'm not gonna worry about it.
No, for sure.
We have a lot of we have a lot of young deer on that property that have amazing genetics and really good potential. I'm talking 2.5-year-old 8 pointers. I've got we've got one deer that is 2.5 that he looks like he may go 10 points in the area that I'm set up. So I mean there is a lot of great deer there, and from what I've heard, the rut is pretty awesome there. Obviously, it can be hit or miss over the years. I
Of
mean, we
course.
all know that. Oh, the weather, the oh, bump the camera there. The weather, the weather, the really the heat and the cold. The length of days. Everything that triggers those deer going into heat and those does. And um, whether it's hot or cold, they're going to rut. But how intense that rut is, I'll tell you right now. In my opinion, the cold weather, they move a lot further away from bedding area because it's cold. They don't get as hot fast. They don't need to be near water and food as often because it's cold. It feels good. Feels good to them. When you get hot, when you're sitting in the 70s and 80s midday in a dang November, them deer ain't gonna stray far from that bedding area. He might
No,
breed that doe, but he ain't gonna breed her far.
no, they
And he
they
ain't gonna.
definitely won't move
They
as
already
far
they
as they
already wear
could.
themselves out chasing these does around. So and I'm not saying that the occasional buck don't run forever on an 80-degree day. That's not what I'm saying. But in the years that I've been doing it, when it's hot, I see a lot less rut activity.
Yeah.
When it's cold, it's great. I do not think cold sets the rut into action though. The length of day does. So when that length of day changes, right there going into gun season for us here in this state of Georgia, that's when you start to see things start to get, you know, it's like a light flickering on, and you'll start to see small bucks sparring in October, and you'll start seeing scrapes in October and stuff like that. And that's when you really start to see things get warmed up. And I think a lot of places in Georgia, November to December, you're going to see a lot of your action through January. So,
I mean, I've seen, you know, hell, when I shot Pickles, dude, him and Bluey were both tickling antlers, and it was the second weekend of deer season, so the third week of
oh
September.
yeah,
And
well,
I
and
mean, that's
deer play and deer spar.
oh
They're
yeah,
curious
yeah.
creatures.
But like what you're saying about, the rut and everything, I personally hate the rut. I've only had
Yeah,
one good experience in it, and it really isn't even a good experience. It was just a cool deer to see. But
yeah.
that's why I'm taking October 25th off from work this year, because October 25th, in my opinion, at least in this area, you know, in 100, maybe not 100 mile, maybe like a 50-mile radius, it seems to be when these bucks daylight. I mean, 2 years in a
Yeah.
row now, I've had big deer daylight on one of my spots on that day, same exact time. So,
Well, and they are creatures of habit, and they remember what they did that day the same year prior. They will do the
mhm.
same thing. They will show up within a couple hour window, I believe, of the same time, as long as the weather sets itself up roughly the same and all that good stuff.
Well, and deer have been acting really weird um, this year. I mean, Trike is a perfect example. He dropped one side last November, which made no sense. I still think he got sick. Um,
I think he
uh,
got sick or stressed.
yeah, there was something because he didn't break it off. Like I have the shed
But then
upstairs.
his goofy butt broke his dang time.
I was getting to that. But he did that, and then he started growing. I forget who I was telling today, but I was telling somebody about it, and it was my sister-in-law, because she went over to that spot and saw a bunch of deer,
Oh
and
yeah.
because it's at her grandparents' place, and she was like, "Oh, I saw so many does." I'm like, "Do you see that big buck?" She goes, "No, I didn't see him." I was like, "Well, I saw him today, and believe me, he is, even with that broken main beam, he is still a foot and a half, foot and a quarter above his head, just in
Those,
height,
those, those daylight pictures you sent me from today right before you showed up.
dude." They
He's
don't even
freaking
do him
tall, dude.
justice. They don't do
No,
him justice. I mean, really.
he's
Like, and I
he's tall. He ain't gonna have a mass, but he's tall.
Oh yeah. Well, and the thing is, so like I'll just sort of give the story, because no one except her and maybe you know the full story. But when I showed up today, I went and stopped by Alpha Roofing and Contracting, with where they sell a tracks. It's my buddy. I'm sure you know him too, but Chase Coltharp, Jay Maxwell, those guys. And I was telling him, I was like, hey, I'm stopping by to get some feed. So I went
Yeah.
and got it. drove over to the spot, and I didn't say anything to anybody, but for some reason I had a feeling. I was like, all right, I'm gonna see him again today. It just
Yeah.
popped in my head. One quick little thought. It was like, it'd be cool if I did, and that was it. Pull in, go to the spot. I pulled down into this parking spot that I'm trying to condition these deer to seeing a vehicle there. And dude, I don't even see them. At first, I see the neighbor's dogs running around. I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe they'll come up and sniff me and say what's up, and that'll be it. Look over to my left, and I see Trike with 3 does and a fawn. And I'm like, oh my God. Because I haven't seen him in person since, what was it, like a month ago?
Yeah.
And actually, it was a couple days before he broke his main beam.
Yep.
And so it was like 3 weeks. And dude, just in that alone, he is still, if you look at Pickles, he's at least 6 inches, maybe not 6 inches, but I would say 3 or 4 inches taller than where his or where his main beam's at right now.
Yeah.
And I'm flipping out. And he doesn't care that I'm there. That's the thing.
No.
He just doesn't care. He sees me pull in, I park, and I see the dog, and the dog runs up, and they're kind of watching the dog. They look at me, they look back at the dog. They're just, about to sort of mosey off into the woods a little bit. And then the other dog, because the neighbor's got two, the other dog comes running up beside my truck, and that's what spooked him. So I literally watched Trike run to my left at 20 yards, just bounding off. And I mean, it was one of those moments where it's like, holy crap, this is working. And
No,
sure,
yeah.
dude, I get out, go to put the feed out. The doe and the fawn are 10, 15 yards away from me.
Lord.
They let me get that close, and then they're finally like, okay, we're going to move off. And they did. I put the feed out, and 20 minutes later, they came back. And it's
You
like,
put on camo and become a predator though, then they're gone.
oh, yeah, yeah.
It's
I
crazy.
mean,
You might as well hunt in your street clothes.
dude, I've thought about it. I've honestly thought about just parking down there and going and sitting at the edge of the wood line and just waiting. But
Probably would. I mean, honestly, it wouldn't be hurt to try it. I'm not saying do it opening day or nothing,
oh
but
no.
honestly, you get a good evening where you get off at a good time. I'd slip over there on a cool evening, and if you hadn't shot him by then, which I feel like you're gonna shoot him opening day, but that's just me.
Man, I hope so. I
I think
really
you're
do.
going to. I know for a fact a good slickhead comes out opening day, she's getting the whack.
Well, see, all right. So that's kind of something I wanted to touch on because I haven't really talked about this much. What is your usual, like, I guess, not tactic. What's your rules, for lack of a better word, that you do for the first month? Because mine are the first 2 weeks to 3 weeks, I'm buck only. That's because normally they're on a pattern and you can kind of pattern
Yeah.
them and figure them out. After that, it's like, okay, if I haven't killed one of the bucks I'm after yet, it's free game. Anyone that shows up that's not a spike is getting shot. Or really any doe that shows up is getting shot.
Yeah.
You kind of do the same thing, or you kind of just like, you know what? I'm just gonna shoot whatever walks out.
I have always been this way, but during a week opener weekend, um, pretty much until gun season, that till October rolls in. First slick hit I get a good shot at on a nice slick hit, I'm shooting her because I'm bow hunting, so I ain't gonna funk up that buck too bad. And if he's gonna show up, he's gonna show up with her. I mean, I ain't gonna see the first slick head to walk in. That's another thing I've learned to do maturing in my hunting. If I see a deer walk in, I let them come in and chill out because they're gonna bring another deer with them or somewhere
Mm-hmm.
near them generally. So that buck that I would like to shoot, or a buck that I may not even know is there, I try to let them get in there and calm down because them deer, especially early season, they'll come in and feed daylight 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes before night daylight.
Mm-hmm.
Before dark in the evenings, and then in the morning time they'll come in right before daylight and they'll feed all the way up until it gets good in daylight, and then they'll head out. And then I've been experiencing, at least on the cameras now, I don't like to hunt strictly by the cameras, but what I've been seeing pattern wise, they'll feed through the morning early. I mean, they'll start some mornings at 4 or 5:30, feed, leave, come back. The buck will show up by himself. Bullwinkle or one of the other younger deer will show up by themselves. The younger deer will show up together. Bullwinkle is hanging by himself. He does not. That's another reason I think he's the older deer. He just doesn't associate with the other
Oh,
deer.
100%.
But
100%.
and I'm not saying every old deer is like that, but I
But
just feel like
generally speaking, they do
yeah,
that. They don't
The
like
older
to be
they
around
get,
other
the more
deer.
like, yeah. So, and I know everybody's like, well, bachelor groups, and yeah, you'll have bachelor groups of giant deer, so don't
Yeah,
take it, but Georgia, man, I'm telling you, Georgia hunting is way different.
dude, I made a
A lot of
joke.
these Midwest guys and the people that hunt out in like the Midwest,
Yeah.
it's totally different in my opinion. And they'll
Oh
tell
yeah.
you, you'll have a lot of people talk about if you can hunt Alabama, Tennessee, if you can, well, not, if you can hunt Alabama, Florida, Georgia, you can hunt anywhere and kill. You can hunt anywhere.
Dude,
That's
I
what I've
said that
heard.
exact thing last night. Me and Jessica were watching season 10 season 10 of Alone, and there was a
Yeah,
Georgia boy there.
yeah,
And he's like, man, I've never really hunted anything like this, but I'm gonna give it a try. I don't know anyone that can hunt better than me, like the typical, ego trip or whatever.
yeah. I got it.
And I looked at Jess, I was like, I hope he gets something. I hope he's the first one to kill a big game animal because honestly, I feel like hunting a Georgia deer with how finicky they are and how I mean, because some of these deer, man, I will say the deer down at my the spot, the spot where Trike's at, they're not as finicky early season. You
Yeah,
give them maybe a month and a half, and they're I'm not going to say they're pets, but they really don't care about people. You
yeah.
bring in middle of October to late October, they start catching on and they're like, oh,
Oh yeah,
I need to look in the trees. And I mean, I
yeah.
had plenty of sits. I think I went from opening day to, oh, I'm sorry, no. My first sit over there was the second weekend of season. And that's when I saw a trike last year, just didn't have a shot on him. From
Yeah.
that point forward, I would see does and spikes every single sit up until maybe the first week of November.
Yeah.
And I didn't shoot him because I was after trike and I was like, well, he's showing up. He's just not showing up when I'm there.
Mhm.
And there's a whole thing behind that. But like, yeah, dude, I mean, Georgia deer, when they catch on, become the hardest animal in the state to hunt, in my
Oh yeah.
opinion.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Well, and he told the club president down there told me he's like these deer are not easy to hunt per se. He's like, rifle hunting's a little easier. We have a lot of rifle stands there. We have box stand on the power line, stuff like that. So you know how I am.
oh, I know.
I will be partaking in a little bit of the forbidden
Well, don't forget,
spiel, but
don't forget Team SEBH for Bow Hunting League.
oh
You
yeah,
gotta, you gotta help us out,
got
man.
to represent. I'm not well. That's the goal. Back just revert real quick back to your initial question. First look at I see from opening day till October or so. If I can put one down between then, I will. It's not going to booger up the area too bad. And but if that buck comes in there, he's going to come in there whether I shoot a doe or not. It's not going to be a big deal, I don't think.
Yeah.
So, um, the sooner the better. I can put a slick down, get some meat in the fridge or fridge in the freezer fridge sometimes, but put some meat in the freezer. Go ahead and start that off well. Go ahead and get started for the year, getting meat in the freezer and breaking the ice. You feel a little better, and my dogs are going nuts. You feel a little better. Um, in my opinion, I think you break them jitters, man, because we're all jittery when we first go. And if you're not, like I shake, it don't matter what walks in. I get shaking and I get nervous. But you break them jitters up when being able to put one down and especially like this year I'm gonna be hunting with a new bow and new arrows, probably new broadheads. I don't know yet. I haven't got that far yet, but um I just haven't decided if I'm going fixed blade or what. But it's a toss up still, but
Well, you know my opinion on that, especially with the by the time this drops, I'm sure that the actual product will drop. But that VPA Omega with bleeders, dude, I'm
well, I seen earlier
so
my
excited.
that this I'm sorry, but these prices, Biden's got to do something because my freaking mega meats are $50 for a 3 pack
Well,
on
tell me where you're finding them because everywhere I'm seeing them, they're 60.
yeah Amazon $50.
Dude,
But
they're
when I
20
first
bucks a
started buying
broadhead.
mega meats, I bought them for like 40.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but you got to remember too, like
mean, it almost makes me not feel so bad about buying a 3 pack of fixed blades that are 60, $70 because hell, my expandables are that much now. They
I
used to
mean,
not.
listen, VPA has a single bevel that you can buy for 87.99, and you save money with our code. So honestly, if you're
Yeah.
thinking about going that route,
Oh
that's the
yeah.
route I'd go because
Them Omegas, man. They look
no, but
good.
see, you don't even have to. As much as I push the Omegas, you
No,
don't
but
even
you
have
know
to do
how I
the.
am, like, because the Omega's the new one, right? With the 4 blade.
No, so I mean, yes, the Omega is. Hold on, damn it. The
There it is.
Omega is a broadhead they dropped last year.
Oh, okay.
This year they're coming out with the Omega with bleeders. So it's basically
Okay. So
the same
yeah.
broadhead, just can slide bleeders into it.
Well, I like the bleeders on
Oh yeah.
the new setup. I mean, those are gnarly looking. So I've been looking into getting some of those or the guys you had on last week.
Oh, Tulu.
I've been looking at those too. They're very
Yeah.
interesting. Um,
Yeah, their design was really
cool thing about me not being tied down to anything really. I
yeah.
just kind of buy what I want. But
Yeah. Well, I
um,
mean, look, that
I want
broadhead,
to
you know,
do.
I said it last week, but obviously I'm still shooting BPA and I've been cool with Trevor and them for, it'll be a year later this fall, but they're really
Yeah.
good dudes and like it's a good product. It's
Oh
just,
yeah.
I know what I like and I know
Yeah.
what I'm going to use. Not to say that if, they were like, "Hey man, we got this, set up just for you. We want you to try it." Yeah, I'd shoot a doe with it and see what it does and give
Right.
my honest opinion, But
Yeah.
um I don't know. I'm gonna have to see what happens with that head to really give a full
Well,
opinion because
I'm
like,
gonna do some tests this year. I think I'm gonna tune
yeah,
a couple. I'm gonna tune a couple fixed heads. I'm gonna carry a mega meat, but I want to tune. I would like to possibly get my hands on a VPA head and a Tulu head, and I don't know who else yet. But I want to do some tests. I would like to shoot. I'm gonna shoot a couple of those in my club. At least one with a bow there. I'll be hunting some public land this year, so I'll have a doe opportunities a lot on those public lands. I'm going to Kentucky. Kentucky, I can go ahead and tell you right now, if I shoot a buck, I'll probably smoke him with the mega meat. I'll just
oh yeah.
be straightforward. I mean, that's just my comfort
Hmm.
zone there. That's what I prefer to use, anyways. But um,
But you don't
if
want to
I
take the chance on a big buck with something that
yeah,
you're
I mean, it's
totally familiar
still
with,
as people as I will have my stuff tuned, and I will be fine with shooting whatever. But my preference on shooting a large buck because of my blood trails that I've had in the past and stuff, I would prefer to use the mega meat. Now, I may shoot a doe with one of those fixed blades if I shoot a doe with a VPA or the Tulu or whatever I decide to test this year, and I get some really good results. I may just stick with them the rest of the season.
Hmm.
And if I get good results, I might way down the road, but in the future may look into teaming up with somebody and stuff like that when my numbers get right and all that. But I'm not doing anything right now to be tied down to any one thing because I like testing stuff. So I'm excited to basically, I would like to hopefully do a small segment of broadhead tests throughout this season and kind of give some feedback. So,
Yeah.
but basically, to sum it all up, early season, first doe I see, I'd like to shoot her. I will be going to Kentucky this year. As far as I know, everything's still on for that. I'm going to check back in with the guy and see if we got any dates. But last time we had talked, it was October. So have a really good chance of shooting a good buck there. And me and you were just talking about it, whether you go or not. I know that's like way ahead. This is 2 years in
Yeah.
advance. Um, but as far as like me going, I really want to go to Southern Ohio. That'll be an archery hunt. That'll be in 2 years, but that's something I'm looking forward to. Doing more out of state hunts and shooting more big deer. So, um, not that they don't have them here in Georgia, but I'm just looking forward to doing some out of state stuff. Uh, so but that's some of my early season. Basically, we're gonna get some food plots done, keep the feeding going, keep the cameras rolling, try to put out some videos for everybody that likes to follow along, and uh, get get the bow ready and get tuned and probably post way too many TikTok videos of the bow or shooting it or whatever I'm going to be doing, but it'll be good.
Yeah, I mean that, that bow, it's a good bow. I do have to say, I am gonna have to give my opinion because in the intro I do talk about, my new bow, being a bear and all of that. And I shot the lift. It's a
The
good
nice,
bow.
that
It's
bear is nice, man.
dude, I'm telling you, like, this is just my opinion on it. And I guess we can wrap this up with this, and
Yeah,
we'll do a shameless plug because I want you to give a shameless plug.
that's
Um,
fine.
but to anybody who is in the market for a new bow, and then this is strictly my opinion, but I shot the bear behind me and loved it, so I got it. I could have gotten the lift. There's a reason why I didn't. It was some truck mechanical things that I need to take care of that I decided to
Yeah,
go with a little bit cheaper bow, more of a budget bow.
yeah, of course.
That and I love bear, but
There's
I
nothing
did
wrong
shoot
with
the
that.
lift. And as you know, there's been a lot of hype behind that bow. I gotta be honest, man. You know what I'm about to say.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
I didn't feel the hype. I didn't.
Yeah,
It's a great
yeah,
bow and it's a good product. And
oh
I
yeah,
can see why people like it. And if I hadn't have shot my bow and been like, oh, this is exactly what I wanted and what I was looking for, and I shot the lift, I probably could have convinced myself to spend the money on it.
yeah,
So I'm not telling anybody don't buy it, but what I am telling people is just go shoot. Like if you want to get a bow that's going to get the job done, that is not going to break your bank, and you're not like loyal to one company. I am a little bit biased to Bear because it's what I started with. Fred Bear is one of the people I really look up to when it comes to bow hunting, all that other stuff. Take that away though. If you shoot my bow and you shoot a lift, you will notice differences,
oh
but
yeah,
the bow I got has differences that I prefer. Like the back wall is more solid. I felt like the lift back wall was a little spongy. It
yeah,
also didn't feel like 85% because I still had to hold back a lot of weight. And on my bow, you don't. As soon as you're locked
yeah.
in, you're locked in. And I just think what it was, and this is a problem that a lot of people contribute to, is a new product comes out and they're like, oh my God, it's the best thing that's ever been made. So you get in your head, this bow is, and this the analogy I've been giving since this happened is like, you think when you shoot this bow that the second that shot breaks, the whole galaxy is going to appear in front of you and you're going to get all the answers to the universe and be like, oh, this is what I've been missing. And I went into it thinking that, and that's
Yeah.
probably not the right way to look at it. But I
That's
just
how I
wasn't
felt.
I wasn't impressed.
That's how I felt with my RX-4, my Carbon Ultra. When I bought it, I was like, "That's just slick. This is what I've been looking for." And the lift they dropped it in Bottomland, and it's not 1,800 freaking dollars like the I want to say the RX-8 that was in Bottomland that they dropped. It's like 17.99, I think MSRP, which is insane to me. I mean, hell, the lift's 1,200, but still, that's $600 cheaper. So, um, the lift shot good for me. Uh, it felt smooth, felt solid. I liked it, and like we always say, it's preference. Everybody shoot a bow. Like anybody getting into bow hunting, archery, shooting, whether it be 3D hunting, target, whatever, backyard. Go shoot 5, 6, 7 different flagship bows, and you don't even got to shoot top of the line either. Just go shoot some flagship, some top of the line stuff. Go shoot some bottom of the, you know, basic base model, base
Yeah, like a
entry.
budget.
Go grab a Bear Legit, dude. You're probably gonna like it. A lot of
Yeah.
people are gonna like that. Go grab a Hoyt Torex. It's not as expensive, and they're really smooth in my opinion. Go grab a Halon. Go grab a Phase 4. Now that they've had a couple years, they've had a year with the Phase 4. Now they're going to the lift. So go grab a Halon. Go grab, dude. Go grab a Switchback XT. Get on Marketplace. Get on Archery Talk. Find you some older bows, dude. They're super smooth. They're readily affordable. Um, they're normally still available for parts as long as you get name brand like Matthews, Hoyt, Bowtech, stuff like that. So shoot your bows, learn what fits you, and that's all we can all tell anybody because everybody's going to be different for sure.
Yeah. I mean, when I decided to switch and change away from obsession, because that bow, And again, I said this in the intro too, but I'm gonna say it again, in case somebody skips it, that bow was a great bow. It was well
Yeah.
built. It did its job and it was quick, easy to shoot. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, that bow, brand new, is like $600,
Yeah.
and it shoots just as good as half of these flagships. And
Yeah.
dude, I'll even say this: I shot the flagship from Bear, comparing it to mine, and they feel almost identical. The
Oh yeah.
only difference with the flagship is it's a little bit heavier, so it's more stable, which
Yeah.
I personally like. You get a bunch of different features. You get everything that my bow has, but integrated. So you have the
Right.
integrated pick mount, you got the integrated rest, you've got I believe there's an adjustable cable guard, you've got
Yeah.
a little loop thing that they've got in the rise or in the limb pocket that allows you to pull your bow up without using, a limb or
Yeah.
cam or whatever. It The flagships are good, right? And people need to buy the flagships because if you keep buying flagships, then the company is able to make their money. They can come out with more and innovate and all that other stuff. But for a guy
There's
like
always gonna be
me,
people that get a brand new one every year. There's
oh
always going
yeah,
to
and
be.
then they sell it. They get a brand new
Yeah.
one that drops, and then they sell it 6 months later because like, oh, I don't like this.
Yeah.
My thing is like, if you're a regular dude like me, who most of the time cannot afford a flagship bow, there are so many out there that are. I mean, even the Bear Adapt
Yeah.
is for. I think I saw one for like 459 ready to hunt.
Yep.
All you need to do is grab that bow, get it set up for you, paper tune it.
Mhm.
You don't even really have to paper tune it. I mean, hell, I've never shot a bullet hole through paper. And I know a lot
Yeah.
of people are going to hear that, and a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, your bow's not tuned." No, it's tuned. It's just my
Yeah.
grip and the way that I shoot. But dude, that bow behind me can put a broadhead and field point in the same spot at 40 yards, no problem.
That's all that matters.
That's
As long
all
as
that
you're not out
matters.
there parachuting and you can accurately hit what you're aiming at.
Exactly. And the arrow flight is good. I'm
Right.
not seeing like, it's not hitting sideways. It's hitting like a dart. It's just
Yeah.
for whatever reason, the way that I grip and torque the bow at the very beginning, it it'll show a really kind of. I think when I shot through paper this past weekend, like literally the day after I got the bow, so I wasn't even fully accustomed to it yet. It was knock left tear.
Yeah.
Dude, I shot it Sunday evening, and I didn't touch the rest. I didn't touch the cams, cables, none of that. Everything was timed. Everything was set the way it was. I had John, or was it John? Yeah, it was John up at Ace Hardware shoot the bow, and he's been
Yeah.
shooting longer than I've been alive, and he shot a bullet hole.
Yeah.
The bow is tuned. I'm not tuned.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that goes into a whole nother can of worms that would don't need to get into. But yeah, man, I just I'm excited for your season. I know you've got a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. Again, sorry that you had to listen to my Matt Ranella rant, but I had to get it out, and I figure what better person to join me on
Well,
this because I know we both agree pretty much on all of it. But yeah, dude, before we wrap this up, give us a shameless plug. What can we expect to see from you? What should we be on the lookout with the YouTube channel? You said you
yeah.
got a new logo. I mean, where
Yeah.
can everybody find you?
Well, any social media platform. I don't do my own podcast or anything like that, but I do YouTube. So trying to do videos on YouTube and maybe a couple of YouTube shorts here and there, stuff like that. Um, I don't know when the next video I will be dropping. I would like to eventually get like probably monthly videos or maybe weekly. Because deer hunting is like you can't guarantee I'm gonna drop a weekly video deer hunting, obviously. But I would definitely like to at least try and drop a monthly video, even if I don't shoot anything, recapping like what's going on. How my seasons are going as we go month by month. And I may drop two videos. I may have a deer. I may kill a deer right after I drop a video and have that video on, whatever. So we'll see how that's going to go down the pipeline as we get closer to deer season, or once we get into deer season. Maybe expecting to see hats. I got the new logo. You can catch me on Instagram. Generally, though, you can catch me on Facebook and TikTok. Now, my TikTok, I have a lot of my family stuff on there too. It's not just geared, just it's not straight towards just my outdoor stuff because I don't want to make two TikToks and all that crap like I did with my Facebook. So, but you can catch me on Facebook at Outdoors with Thor, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Outdoors with Thor. Um, hit that subscribe button and look forward to hopefully laying down some fresh content for everybody.
Yeah, and your TikTok will make you cry. It's choked me up a couple times. So, but awesome, man. Well, look, I appreciate you coming on, and like I said, listen to me rant, kind of get that off my chest because it's a tender subject when you start talking about friends of mine. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't mean to use this platform as a way to vent or bash anybody. I guess to
Yeah.
recap that, like I said, I respect Matt. I just don't appreciate his opinion or respect his opinion really.
Correct.
But that's not what this episode is about. This episode is about you. To anybody who didn't know, I know you said it earlier, but happy belated birthday.
Thanks,
You're
man.
now the big 3-0, you old bastard. And I'm not
Here
too
come the
far
gray
behind you.
hair. Here come the gray hair.
I know, yeah. I'm not that far behind you, and I've already got white hair. So I'm I don't know, man. I'm happy that you came on. I'm glad we got to do this.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Hopefully, congrats on 100 subscribers on YouTube.
Thanks.
Congrats on the baby standing up. This is where all the trouble starts, as you probably already know.
Yeah. It's about to be in everything.
Yeah. So time to baby proof. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, dude, I'm really thankful you came on. Honestly, it's good to always get you on here, and I'm looking forward to. We got some big plans for episode 100. That's going to be a big.
Oh, yeah.
Don't drop anything yet. I know you know what's happening, but nobody else knows.
Yeah, we're going to be ramping up to that. So,
Yeah, dude, we are literally after this episode drops, we're 13 episodes away. So that is 13 weeks. And we're probably going to record that episode before the 100th episode drops.
yeah.
Got to figure that out. But yeah, dude, 13 weeks. It's going to be 100 episodes. It's insane.
Oh, yeah.
So, but anyway, Thor, I appreciate you coming on, dude. And yeah, man, we'll do it again.
All right. We'll see you.
Awesome, buddy.